All right, so today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to be doing some mountain biking on the new e-bike. So I've had this bike. This is the Canyon Spectral ONfly. I've had it for about 2 months now, and so far I really like it. I've been mountain biking since I was a kid. I'm about 44 years old now, so I've been mountain biking on and off for a really long time. The last bike that I had, it was a Giant. I believe it was a what was the name of that? It was a cross country bike. Oh, the Giant Anthem. It was a Giant Anthem, and that bike was really lightweight. Definitely a lot lighter than this. This puppy weighs, like with everything I did to it, probably weighs around 50 pounds or so. It's been really good so far. Let me just take it out here. I did a lot of upgrades to it. I bought the base model, which had, I believe, the RockShox Select shocks on it, which I did not like. I did not like at all. In fact, that was the very first thing I did, is I wanted to get rid of the RockShox in favor of the factory shocks. Once you get used to the Fox factory shocks, it's really hard to go back. Excuse me for a second, I just gotta put my neck strap on here. And yeah, so basically I got this in my Tesla Model Y right now. So as you can see here, basically just set it up and put the tire on. Take the little guard out of the brake and set this up. We'll go over it more closely in a second. I just want to put this tire on. There we go. Stick this in there. Grab the tool. Tighten her up. Pretty easy. So like I said, I've had this thing for about 2 months now. Did come with the RockShox. I didn't like those, so I ended up going with, as you can see here, this is the factory X2 float, and then I went with the Fox 36 float, and this has I believe the X2, the Grip X2 dampers in them. So they're pretty much matching as far as the dampers. But I will say that, you know, with these higher end shocks, you do have to take some time to tune them. You know, it's not like you just put them on and go. I think like with the RockShox Select, like the one that came with this bike originally, you could do that. You know, you could just ride it as it is. It's really not a problem. I think maybe that's why they put it on the base model, probably because, you know, people that are buying the base model just want to kind of like a set it and forget it type of option. But with this bike, I opted to go with the better suspension just because it's going to feel a lot nicer. It does feel a lot nicer on the trails, on the drops and everything like that. So I did go with the I went through a couple of different handlebars. These are the Deity bars. I ended up liking these the most. I mean, aside from just looking sick, they function really well. I feel like I get a little bit less vibration in the handlebars. They're just really awesome performance. What else did I do? Oh, I did the hubs. So these are Hope hubs. I never really rode on these before, but I really like them. The stock hubs pretty much are rotors, sorry, not hubs, rotors. The stock rotors pretty much sucked. I wanted the XT, the Shimano XTs, but they didn't have those in stock. But he said, the guy at the shop that was installing all this stuff, said he actually preferred these. So I just trusted his opinion, and he was right. They're pretty awesome. And then I did end up getting new rims. I didn't like the stock rims. These are custom made by the shop. I'm not even really sure what he did. I know he did the DT Swiss 350 hubs, And then I'm not sure what the actual rims are. They say Flow MK4, whatever that is, but whatever. They're really nice, a lot better than what came with it. The ones that came with it, I believe they were the Sunringle, and they really sucked, because basically every time you took the front tire off, the little spacer would fall out, and it was just a total pain in the butt. So that was one of the first things, I mean, aside from the suspension, that was one of the first things I wanted to fix or upgrade. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Just rims, hubs, you know, front and rear suspension, the handlebars, and the rotors is pretty much everything upgraded off the base Spectral Canyon ONfly. So I love the dropper post. You know, again, I'm coming from the old school. Before I bought this bike, I was running, like I said, the Giant Anthem, and that was a cross-country bike. So I really wanted something that was a little bit more plush. This is South Florida, so it's not like we have, you know, huge uphills and huge downhills, but we do have a lot of technical terrain. You know, we have a lot of, you know, obviously we have little, you know, like punchy uphills and stuff like that. But, you know, you're not going up huge ascents, huge descents. It's mainly flat trails, technical trails. You got a lot of roots and things you're bouncing off of. And it can get kind of taxing, especially if you're just hitting root after root after root. So I wanted something, you know, with the 160 mil, I believe it's 160 mil travel, front and rear, I believe. But yeah, so far it's been awesome. But what I wanted to go back to is the tuning, because I talked a little bit about that. The tuning on this, you've got basically 4 points to tune. You got low speed compression, high speed compression, low speed rebound, and high speed rebound. So there's it takes a little bit of adjusting to get it right, but you can tune this shock pretty much to whatever you desire, you know, whatever you want it to feel like, essentially. So for me, I like it to feel kind of plush. I don't like a lot of vibration when I'm riding, so that took a little bit of messing around with these two adjustments, which are both, that's low speed compression and low speed rebound. So yeah, so this is turn it on. So 100% battery. I always like to just put it on miles per hour, so we're good there. So just to let you know, I did try like 3 different bikes before I settled on this one. I tried the Specialized, I think the Levo, Specialized Levo, and then I was looking at the Pivot Shuttle SL, and I really like the Pivot actually, but the motor system, it didn't even work. It was at the shop, and he couldn't even get it to turn on or anything. So I was like, look, I'm not even gonna mess with that. So definitely that left me feeling very uncomfortable. This has the TQ motor in it, and this motor is the same one they use on the Fuel XE, the Trek Fuel XE, which is a really popular bike. But the thing is, this bike has the MX setup, the mullet setup. So you got a 27.5 on the rear, 29er on the front, which I'm a shorter dude. I'm like 5'6", and I don't know, for my height, and I'm about 165 pounds, just for my stature in that, I prefer the MX setup. It lets me corner a lot better than a full 29er setup like the Fuel. And yeah, I just get it's just a way more balanced, whippy feel on technical terrain over the full 29er. I feel way more grounded on this bike than I do on my old 29er XC bike. So yeah, all right, well, let's give her a ride here. Let me just close her up, grab some water, and we can start riding. Let me just grab some water out of here. Yeah, I'm actually really interested to see how this this rear shock feels today, because I've been spending a lot of time tuning it. All right, yeah, so it's feeling pretty good. So all right, so this here on the left, I don't know if you can see that, but this little knob on the left, or lever I guess you call it, that's how you control your how much thrust that you get. So one thing to note, just kind of go slow through here so I can talk, but yeah, one thing to kind of note, just for you guys that haven't rode an e-bike, or you know, an e-mountain bike, one thing that you should know is that it really doesn't change the feel of riding. The only thing, in my opinion, that it does, like I said, I've been riding this pretty consistently for 2 months, is it basically just feels like, you're just a super rider. You know, it's like someone just, you know, like that movie Inception, or not Inception, but whatever that movie is where he takes the pill and he's like a mad genius. It's like someone gave you a pill. It just made you a super mountain bike rider in terms of endurance. You know, it doesn't take away or add to the feel in any way, at least with this TQ motor. Oh yeah, and that goes back to what the other bike, the Specialized Levo. That bike, I felt like it didn't feel natural. The what do you call it, the acceleration or the boost, whatever you want to call it, it didn't feel natural at all. Like, it felt like it was pulling me. The bike, every time you would, you know, get your cadence going, it wasn't very natural, and it would pull you. It was just, it's weird. It's just, I guess the best way to describe it is it just didn't feel natural. I was like, I don't like this. After riding this bike and that Fuel XE, I tested that bike as well, but I did not like the Fuel XE at all. I felt like the steering was really like stiff. It didn't feel agile. I don't know. That was my least favorite. I didn't even consider that bike after I test rode it. But this bike, I felt like it was like the best of all worlds. And but yeah, it's just like when you ride an e-mountain bike, it just feels like you have more power, which I guess you do, obviously. You just have more power than you ever had before. And the other thing that I want to kind of demonstrate today, or record in this video, is that, you know, for you fitness guys, and for me, you know, I've been like really getting back into fitness this past year. It doesn't take away from that at all either. It actually adds to it, because like the more you give it, the more you give it, the more it goes, and the more it goes, the faster you want to go. So it just like pushes you more. So let me pull over here for a second. I'm actually going to record my cardio today. Let's see. Let's go here. So I'm already, it's auto recording. Let's see if I can, yeah, I'm just gonna finish this up. See if I can get it in the, I don't know if it's gonna show up here in the frame. But okay, so been riding 3 minutes, 22 seconds, whatever. Let's go back to, okay, so this is an Android watch, so I'm just gonna go to bike. Tap to skip. All right, so there's my cardio. I've already been riding and talking a lot, so we're gonna keep track of that. So what I was saying about the cardio is that with an e-bike, you're still gonna get super awesome cardio. You know, so for one, you can control how much power is being delivered with the you know, with the switch on the left side of the bars. So, you know, it's not like a motocross bike or something like that where, you know, you're not working. You're working as hard as basically you want to work. But the thing is, and the main reason why I got a bike like this, an e-bike, e-mountain bike, is that I can kind of control what cardio zone I want to be in. So like for me, I like to spend most of my time in zone 2 and zone 3, because I feel like in those zones I get a really awesome cardio, but I don't feel so gassed that I want to stop riding and mess up my flow. So in other words, if you can stay in those zones, you're gonna feel like you're in the flow of riding, but you're not gonna feel like you're huffing and puffing so bad that you want to stop and take a break. You can just keep riding. And that goes for the uphills too. Like, you know, this is South Florida, so obviously we don't have huge uphills and stuff like that, but like where we're riding right now is an old landfill. It's Dyer Park in South Florida, and they basically took an old landfill and made it a mountain bike track, and that's actually where we're headed right now. We're going to get there in a little bit. So when you're doing the little uphills there, you can just put it in the turbo setting, and at least with this bike, because it's not like a full power e-bike, you're still going to get that workout, but you're not going to feel like you're so gassed that you have to stop and take a breather at the top of the hill. You can just kind of keep floating through it. So when I was considering buying an e-bike, that was really what I wanted. I wanted something where it was like, damn, I don't want to keep having to stop because I'm so tired. I just want to be able to keep riding, but still get an awesome cardio workout. And it was kind of a big leap of faith, because to be honest, there's a lot of videos on e-mountain bikes, but there's not a lot of videos on the topics that I really wanted to know about, which was, you know, the cardio training and just the general, like, how it felt. And, you know, it's part of the reason why I wanted to make this video, is so, you know, if there's other people out there that want to know the information that I wanted to know about, they could watch this video and get some information. It's probably a little bit windy here, probably some wind noise. Sorry about that, guys. But yeah, we're in kind of an open section. But yeah, it's like you can control, you know, how much power you deliver, which is so important for keeping you in those certain zones that you want to stay in, and specifically stay in for a long time. So all right, so I'll just kind of chime in here and there. I've been kind of just like cruising right now, and let me see what zone we're in. So yeah, see, right now I'm in zone 2 already. I'm in zone 2. We're near a highway, so you're probably gonna hear a lot of car noise and stuff like that. But yeah, see, I'm in zone 2. I'm right where I want to be right now, and I'm sure I'll be getting into zone 3 once we get to the hill, the old landfill. But yeah, we're gonna try to stay in this zone and go into zone 3, and at the end we'll look at the results and see how much time I spent in all the zones. But yeah, this tune that I've been working on this rear shock, oh my god, it feels so good right now. Like, you really gotta, with this shock, the Fox shock, you really have to tune it, man. It's like I was saying before, if you're just a guy that just wants to set it and forget it shock, I think maybe the RockShox would be the way to go for you. But oh my god, with this shock and fork setup, if you get it dialed in, it is so sweet. It is so nice. Like, I just went through all those sections, which normally would be really rough and bumpy and just be chattering me all to hell, and now it just feels so smooth. I mean, obviously you still feel the trail, but it's not like just so bumpy. So that's what I'm saying, you know, there's a lot of technical stuff here in South Florida. But all right, so I'll shut up for a second and just focus on riding for a little while, and then I'll just kind of chime in as I think about stuff that might be of interest. So yeah, so here on the flat roads, forgive it, there might be a lot of wind noise, so sorry about that. But like here on these flat roads, I put it in the turbo setting, and then you can just fly through these flat roads. It's awesome. So like here, I'm gonna dip it back down a little bit here, but so I'm still using the gears. Oh shit, there's a whole, must be like a soccer tournament, or I don't know, there's a fitness thing. They got a fitness thing on the soccer fields. That's pretty sick. Yeah, so what I was saying is, you know, on those flat roads, you can just hit it in turbo and just get super speed, and makes the ride so much less boring. All right, so here we're on the hill now. So I'm still using my gears. Like I said, you know, I've watched some of these videos where the guys say, oh yeah, you just keep it in a medium gear, and then you use your, you know, you use your power setting to control your speed. And I couldn't disagree with that more. I think you should be using your gears just like you do with the non-e-bike, because if you're using that medium gear and all the time, what's going to happen is you're going to wear out your chain and your cassette real fast. So you want to use your gears, and plus it just feels more natural. You know, I guess maybe that's kind of the tone of, at least where I'm at with e-mountain bikes, is I want it to feel natural. Like, I don't want to feel like I'm on a, you know, like a Sauron or something like that. I want to feel like I'm still mountain biking, but just have, like I said, like taking that Superman pill and just making you super awesome endurance. And that lets you focus a lot more on the fun of just mountain biking, you know. So yeah, this is a pretty fun little track. I'm going kind of slow right now because I've been talking a lot, but I'm just really excited about this bike. And it just, and that's the other thing too, is it really makes you want to ride more. You know, because, you know, you can kind of control how much energy you spend. You know, let's say you had a kind of hard day, you know, you can have an easier ride if you want. You can just put it in a more turbo type setting. I've never done that. I'm not the type to do that, because like I said, I want to be in that zone 2 as much as I can. In fact, let's look. Yeah, see, I'm still in zone 2 right now. Perfect. And this trail too might be hard to see in the videos, but there's a lot of ups and downs here. Like if I was on a normal non-e-bike, this section would be, you know, I mean, obviously depending on your fitness level, it's a little bit challenging. It's a lot of uphills. But yeah, like here I'm downshifting, and that motor is just so quiet. You almost don't even know it's on. But you know, when I'm not recording, I'm wearing headphones anyway, so I can't really hear it regardless. But yeah, you can hear a little bit of, you know, the hum of the motor, but that's about it. It's real quiet. It's a fun little downhill right here. These guys. Hey guys.
Hey.
All right. Yeah, this is so fun right here. You just kind of These little berms are so sick. How's it going? Woo! Yeah, so on these sections, you got to watch for pedal strikes, because the trail gets where it's kind of indented, and if you're not careful, your pedal will hit the side of that little berm or indentation, whatever you want to call it, and yeah, it can be a little disconcerting. But yeah, see, I just hit it in turbo mode right here and get up this little punchy uphill. And yeah, see, I pretty much did half this whole hill and I'm not gassed at all. I'm still talking. And let me look at the, yeah, see, I'm in zone, yeah, I'm in zone 3, zone 4 right now. But that was a lot of uphills. See, that's fun right there. So that was a little downhill. Now I'm gonna downshift, put it in turbo, and then just like flow nicely on this uphill. You know, the GoPro, it doesn't show elevation very well, at least, you know, just the perspective. But yeah, this right here on a regular bike, if you're not completely in shape, you're gonna stop right here and take a rest. But look, it's gonna go right through like it's nothing and hit this next little downhill. So fun right here. So much flow. Like, who can not like that? I hope this is not too windy, because it's pretty windy right now. I mean, in terms of the wind noise. So yeah, it's saying I'm in like zone 3. So that's kind of normal, you know, when you're doing these, you know, uphills and downhills and, you know, technical sections. That's when you're going to dip into that zone 3, which is good. You know, you want to get up in those upper zones. That's where you're going to get your you know, you got your fat burn, and then you got that's zone 2, and then zone 3, you're going to get your carbohydrate burn. And it's also going to help with your respiratory system and all that. But yeah, this has so much flow. This is so nice. Like, I don't know why more people don't do this. So much fun. I guess the danger factor, I mean, I guess I get that. That's probably the number one thing why people don't mountain bike. I would imagine. I don't know for sure. Never really looked at the data, but I would imagine people are afraid of falling, which I can totally understand. But it's like skiing, honestly. I mean, skiing is super dangerous too if you're, you know, really pushing your personal limits, and that's just it. You know, you always want to ride. I mean, that's to say, I guess it depends, you know, like if you're just wanting to increase your skills and all that, obviously you want to push the limit of what you can do, otherwise you're not going to progress. But, you know, I have children, I have a good career. I'm not about to like sacrifice anything for mountain biking. I mean, I love mountain biking, but it's not worth it to me. For me, this is just fun, way to get exercise, way to get outside. So I always just ride within my limits. Like, I could be riding way faster right now, but I don't need to. How's it going? So yeah, I still get, my hand gets a little, they call that fist pump or whatever. Gets a little numb if I squeeze my bars too hard. Oh, here we go. Check out these little bumps. Whoa, yeah. Got some bumps here. I'm not like a big jump guy, but hey, I like going over them, right? You know, woo, yeah. There we go. All right. That was fun. Yeah, some nice easy trails here, I guess, depending on your skill level, but even an average mountain biker could do these trails. Definitely not like super hard. Yeah, I like, you know, for me, it's like I like my mountain biking, like I like my skiing. I like speed, I like flow. I'm not really into like doing the jump parks or anything like that. I'm just about getting in that zone and staying there. Speaking of which, yep, still in zone 3. I mean, I don't know how accurate these watches are, but it gives you an idea. You know, we're not looking for exact science here. There you go. Hell yeah. All right, this jump always bucks me a little bit. Yeah, see? It's that lip is so tight. It's like almost vertical. Probably should lean back a little more on that, but whatever. I'm not trying to get air or anything. I think I need to lube my chain. Chain's making a little bit of noise. Yeah, a little steep section right here. All right. Ooh, check out this. I don't remember that. Nice little bump there. There we go, caught a little air. Get a little air. Woo, yeah, there, jump. Yeah, man, this suspension is so nice. Like, once you get it tuned, it's just so plush, and it sucks everything up. It's so awesome. It just makes you so much more confident in your riding. Yeah, this tune is perfect. So I'm at, just so you know, I'm like 165, and I got the air, I think, on the back shock at like 185. So a little tight, I guess, or, you know, a little high, but like I said, you know, I watched all these videos on YouTube, and I kind of followed the instructions, and it didn't really give me a tune that I was looking for. So I just kind of, you know, kind of like tuning an audio system for you audiophiles out there. It's almost like tuning an audio system, like the DSP on an audio system. You really got to tune it to your liking and use your ears. But in this case, you're using the feel, you know, like how does it feel? And then, you know, whatever you don't like about it, then just keep adjusting until it's perfect. And right now, this bike is feeling perfect. And that's what you get, you know, or one of the things you get with the better suspension is get that ability, you know. That ability to just tune it so it feels super awesome. All right, that's pretty much it. Just the last little downhill, and then we'll start the the wood section again. All right, little jump. Wow, look at this jump right here. Boy, you could launch this if you had a lot of speed. Whoo, a little drop. All right, see if we can launch it. Oh yeah, I caught a little air there. All right, so this little flat section. Yeah, we're doing like, I don't know if you can see that. I'll put the camera down. Going like 18 right here, you know. And I'm not even feeling gassed at all. All right, so we're gonna downshift, check the cardio. All right, so here's, gets a little bit more technical. So on these flat trails, I like to put it on eco personally. I mean, it's not really called eco on here because everything's fully adjustable. Basically, you have setting 1, 2, and 3. So your lowest setting is, I don't like it, especially on the low setting. I never want it to feel like when I'm pedaling, it's pulling me forward. I don't like that feeling. It feels really unnatural. And especially when you're doing technical sections, I don't like it because I don't want it to do anything weird or unexpected. I want to be like in control all the time. And so setting 1, basically, at least the way I have it programmed, feels like as if you are riding, you know, a really high performance XC bike, you know, like in terms of, you know, how much acceleration and all that you have and your taxation on your body. It's just, you know, obviously you're still working, still getting the cardio, but you know, it doesn't feel like a heavy bike, which this is. Obviously, you know, 50 pounds is heavy compared to some of these. Like my old bike was probably 20 pounds, something like that, 22 pounds. So this section is always hard for me, so I always have to take my foot off for that one. All right, let's see where we're at. So right now we're still in zone 3. So we've been in zone 3 for a while. So we'll probably dip back down to zone 2 here now that we're on these like flat trails. I'll dip back down into zone 2 and try to stay there for the remainder of the ride. And that'll give me a nice balance between zone 2 and zone 3 training. And yeah, we did actually dip into zone 4 for a second when we were doing that uphill. Oh yeah, look at this, look at these roots, technical stuff. And this suspension just sucks that up like it's nothing. You know, like you could do all this riding and on an XC bike or even, you know, like a hardtail, no problem. But how comfortable is it, you know? Not very. With this bike, you just ride over it and keep going. You don't have to work so hard. And like I said, with that mullet setup, man, it just feels so whippy around those technical sections. And it's funny because the tech guy that did a lot of my upgrades on this bike, you know, he was telling me that, you know, he still likes to ride his XC bike, you know, and specifically this trail that I'm riding right now. It's, you know, it's kind of technical, switchbacks and all that, a lot of roots and, you know, hairpin turns and all that. But I tell you, I don't think he's ever ridden this bike because I feel more comfortable on this bike than my old XC bike for sure. Like, I do not feel like it's hard for me to get around turns in any way. You know, I'm going pretty slow right now just because mainly I'm shooting this video and wanted to talk about my experiences so far with the e-bike. But even when I'm going really fast, it's like, man, it just whips around these corners. And because my center of gravity is lower because of that 27 in the back, it's like I feel more grounded, you know? I don't ever feel like I'm tippy. I think that's the best word, if that's a word, tippy. It feels less tippy, you know, like when you're going around a corner or you're going over a technical, you know, big root or mound or whatever, like you always feel like you're grounded. You never feel like you're gonna tip over. You don't have that feeling of tipping over. And that's the other thing too. That was something that was like an unexpected bonus, I guess you would call it, with this bike, is that the extra weight, and I guess I just didn't put two and two together, and it's something you really don't appreciate until you start riding a bike like this, is that the extra weight is just, it's more safe actually, despite, you know, it may not seem that way, but it is, because there's more weight on the tires, giving you more grip. So, and you feel it too, like when you ride, like you will feel so much more connected to the terrain. You know, you don't feel like you're gonna wash out. You don't feel like you're gonna slip out, like almost ever. I mean, obviously, if you do something wrong, you know, like if you're not riding correctly, you know, you can wash out. I'm not saying you can't wash out, of course you can. But like, if you're in the zone, you're riding good, you're a good rider, you're riding correctly, man, you just feel connected. You feel connected to the terrain, much more so than like a super lightweight 29er XC bike that I was coming off of. But yeah, it's pretty awesome. Man, I'm really surprised there's not more riders out here. It is just an absolutely stunning day today. Perfect day for mountain biking. Well, every day I feel like it's a perfect day for mountain biking, unless it's pouring down rain and muddy or something. But I mean, I'm out here even when it's 90 degrees. But man, like, you really can't ask for better weather than this. It's like 70 degrees, low humidity. It is just gorgeous. Whew, gets technical in here. It does, I will say, it does take some getting used to riding this technical stuff if you're not used to it. Like if you're not used to riding technical terrain and you just come out here, you know, you got to really be careful because you might get hurt for real. I've taken a couple of friends, this is a long time ago now, my younger years when just wasn't as wise, I guess. But you know, I took a buddy out trail similar to this. He probably his first time mountain biking. He ended up falling and breaking his arm, you know, because it doesn't take much, you know, the ground is really hard. So you fall and you put all your weight in the wrong way, you're gonna break your arm, break your wrist, collarbone, whatever. You know, hopefully nothing too serious, but still, that guy that I took never went riding again, which that bums me out, you know, because I was trying to show him, you know, a good time. Ends up breaking an arm. So what I learned from that was, you know, try to gauge someone's skill level and don't take them out into some of this technical stuff right off the bat, even though it's seems obvious now in hindsight, but and then at that time, you know, you just want to share your awesome experience with your buddies. You want to, you know, have them get that high, so to speak, that endorphin, dopamine rush that you get when you're mountain biking or doing any kind of sport like that, you know. I do mountain biking, I ski, I play paintball competitively, and it's all that same feeling, you know, like that, those endorphins rushing through you. You know, you're on that edge of danger. It's a natural high. I don't do any kind of drugs. I really don't drink, very rarely. If I do, it's like a single beer. You know, got nothing against people that do drugs and drink or whatever. To each his own, but for me, I'd rather be out here riding or playing paintball or fishing than doing any of that stuff. To me, this is a way better high. And the side effect is that you get in shape and you're healthy instead of much worse. So hopefully I'm going the right way here. I feel like it kind of took me back, but I think it kicks back around. Haven't ridden this section in a while. Okay, no, we're good. Yeah, this is so much fun, man. And you get the mountain bike and you get the right suspension set up. I promise you, once you get your skills set up at all, you're just gonna fall in love, get addicted to this sport. And that's the thing, you know, this e-bike, I feel like more than any bike I've ever owned, just makes me want to ride all the time, because you just feel stronger than what you actually are. It's like a drug. Like a drug, but the side effect is you get in shape. And you become more healthy, a more healthy human being. All right, what's my watch saying? All right, try not to crash here. All right, total 5 miles so far. We're in zone 3. I said I wanted to stay in zone 2, but I feel like I'm in mainly zone 3 today. That's all good though. I wouldn't do that every day, you know. For an everyday ride, I prefer to stay in zone 2, but it's all good. You can do zone 3, zone 4 workouts depending on your athletic shape. You can do those, you know, 3 times a week, and then on your off days do zone 1, zone 2. But yeah, man, since I started using this watch that shows my beats per minute and all that, it has really been beneficial to my health in so many ways. So much more energy, better mood. You just want to do more stuff. You want to accomplish more things in business. See, I usually go down that way to the right, and that's always a regretful moment because it's super rooty and I'm just not down for that. Like I said, I like flow. I want to just feel like I'm floating through these trails. Some days, you know, you're up for a challenge, but most days I just want to feel the flow. All right. Really curious to see how this, I haven't really taken a video of mountain biking in forever. Normally I'm making fishing videos, but even then I haven't really done a lot of that lately. But I definitely want to start doing it some more. I want to do some of the uncut videos, kind of like this. You know, I don't want to really do any cuts. I just want to show the whole experience. I don't want it to feel like a TV show or giant production. Just me getting out here riding and talking about my experience. That's it. So, you know, even talking takes energy. So me talking like this the whole time actually is taking up some energy for sure. And part of the reason why I'm riding a lot slower than I normally ride, probably. But I really want to express my enthusiasm with everybody that I can about e-mountain biking, because I just think it really has revolutionized the sport. And like, if you haven't ridden in a while, because maybe you're just like bored of the trails that you're always riding around your house, I'm telling you, you get an e-mountain bike, especially like a good one like this one, you know, it's gonna breathe life back into your sport, to your hobby. It's like anything, right? You know, if you're into audio like me, it's like getting a new set of speakers, you know, a new amp, something like that, new DSP. Just kind of breathes new life into it and gets you back into it again. But yeah, this is just so much fun. Getting outside, getting fresh air, going through the trees. I still just can't believe there's nobody out here today. It's crazy. It's Saturday and there's not a soul out here riding anyway. A lot of people back there doing whatever that, it's like a fitness expose or something. I don't know what that was. But yeah, I haven't even stopped to drink water. Screw it, let's just keep going. Drink water later. Now if it was 90 degrees out here, I probably would have already stopped twice. But man, it's just so mild out here. Like, I just don't want to stop. I don't want to stop the flow. All right, let's go green. Just so we're not doing too much tech. You know, I'm just kind of going slow through here, really. Just keeping my zone up. See where I'm at. Yep, still in zone 3, which is kind of crazy. I mean, like I was saying before, it might have to do with me talking. I mean, as normally going this speed, I'm in zone 2. But talking, I guess, kicked me right up into zone 3. Which, that's cool, I guess. But yeah, I'm like not even like tired in the slightest. You know, I got it in the lowest setting right now, which, like I said, the lowest setting, at least how I have it tuned, is it's like riding an XC bike, you know, in terms of how much energy you use to propel yourself. So you still get an awesome exercise. But yet, and that's the other thing I didn't mention before, is that when you, even on the lowest setting, at least with this TQ motor, I don't know how it is with the other motors. I'm sure it's probably similar, probably with the Bosches, because I heard it's like a real natural feeling as well. Oh, this is real hairy right here. Hold on. You know, it feels like a normal bike, like I was saying, but if you're in that situation where, you know, like, and almost, I could tell you a story. I may not go into it right now, but oh, it's a new sign there. Nice. I may not go into it right now, but there's been a couple of times when I've fallen riding, and it was because it was like a real punchy technical section, and I just couldn't do it. Like, I physically couldn't do it, right? Like, I couldn't go up the hill or whatever the case may be, you know? And I fall. But even in, like, at least with this motor, it's like if you get in that situation where you're like putting all your energy into pedaling forward, it will give you that little extra bit that you need to hopefully get you out of that jam. Now, obviously, you know, your mileage may vary depending on your situation and all that, but in my experience in these last couple months, it's gotten me out of a couple jams where, you know, it's like, oh crap, I'm gonna stall, and then you just gives you that little extra punch to help you get through it. And you know, that could be a difference between a serious injury and getting through it. So, you know, from a safety standpoint, it's, you know, it's awesome for that too. So, you know, in that vein of safety, like I said, the extra weight, I feel like makes you feel more grounded. Ooh, it's a little technical right here. Makes you feel more grounded and safe around the corners. Because, you know, you can also, that's the other thing is, you know, because you have power, you know, you don't have to get these super lightweight XC tires where you sacrifice safety, in my opinion. You sacrifice your grip to the ground. Here, you don't have to sacrifice. You can have all the grip and you want and still get through it. So like I said, from that safety standpoint, you know, you can use beefier, knobbier tires and still be as fast or faster really. And with the MX setup, the 27 in the back, 29 in the front, you're not sacrificing your maneuverability, you know, your whippiness, agileness, whatever you want to call it. You still feel like you're in total control and you can just whip around anything. And with the, you know, these are 30, this is a 36, Fox 36, which is kind of like their, I guess their mid-tier, you know, because you have the, I don't know if they make the 32 anymore, but it's like basically, you know, you got 32, 34, 36, 38. So the 36, at least for this style of riding that I do here, and, you know, maybe I'll go to North Carolina or something like that. You know, we're not doing huge downhill stuff with big drops and mega jumps. You don't really need the 38. In fact, I wouldn't want that. I think you feel a little bit more agile with 36. So that's why I chose this one. And I really couldn't be happier. All right, I'll cross this road and drop back into this trail. Oh yeah. Fun stuff, litter bugs. F the litter bugs, right? All right, let's drop back in here. Yeah, baby. Yeah, so if you haven't ridden Florida, it's fun. You know, I was born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri, which, you know, we have a lot of mountain bike trails too there. Totally different though, because there we actually do have some quasi mountains, if you will. And we got some pretty big ascents, pretty good ascents, you know, ascents and descents. Different, totally different type of ride. It's awesome too though. It's all awesome, really. But yeah, don't discount Florida because it's really fun here too. Just in a different way. May not seem like it in this video, probably, because I'm just like, if you know, when you're looking at some of these, you know, Red Bull Rampage videos and stuff like that, obviously that's just a whole nother level for pros. But for everyday people like me, where again, this is just a way for me to get out and have a good time, it's great. You might be able to hear the motor there. It gets real quiet. Sometimes you can hear the motor, but this motor, the TQ motor, is the quietest motor out there for sure. I did like that pivot though, man. It's like, I feel like if that And I don't know why they didn't choose it, because no, actually Pivot is an American brand, I believe. That's probably why. And TQ is a German brand, and so is, I believe Canyon's German. Whatever. Correct me there in the comments if you guys got this far, but I know Canyon's not an American company, that's for sure. But Pivot is. But like I said, I really like the Pivot. I kind of fell in love with it, believe it or not. But as soon as he couldn't get that, you know, powertrain system working, couldn't get it powered on, I was like, no. And then he told me that the customer service, like where he calls in to get parts and stuff, it's like pretty much non-existent. Like he had to email them and then they don't even reply. Like you can't even call them. So I was like, no way. I don't care how much I think this bike is cool. I am not doing that. Little technical section right there. All right, so we're doing pretty good. See where my cardio is. Yeah, see now I'm down to zone 2. Heartbeat starting to stabilize. We almost did the whole trail at this point. I'm gonna just cruise on now. I'm gonna stick it in a higher setting and just cruise back to the car, because it's really close to the road. I don't know if you can see that. It's close to the road here, and I really hate the smell of exhaust fumes. I feel like if you drive an electric car for long enough, you get really sensitive to fumes. Kind of like I mean, I've never smoked, but I imagine it's like a smoker, you know? When you're smoking, you don't really notice, or you're not bothered by cigarettes. You're probably enticed by it. But when you quit smoking, or if you've never smoked, probably more apt, you're bothered by it, right? So yeah, anyway, you got to get away from that, because I really can't stand the smell of fumes. Can't wait till one day I won't have to smell that anymore. All right, so we're pretty much back. All right, well, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Later.